Welcome to the finals, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. I got no joke. I got no
You got
joke.
no-
I got no joke.
Wait for the punchline, man.
I know. Welcome to the finals. But anyway, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you right now. Just know that you are locked in on To The Point with the King and a collaboration with Beyond the Locker Room. Better be watching it on this channel too. Okay. You guys can find us Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X, got a bunch of those. YouTube, which is hopefully where you're watching us. Give each of us a sub. It costs you nothing, right? But I got my man right here, the benevolent, brilliant basketball brain known as Beyond. I just call him B. How you doing today, my brother?
Yeah, man. I mean, I need to have like a recording of your intros, man. That'll give me like a perk up in the morning. Man. I appreciate the intro, man. Helps a brother's self-esteem. Benevolent, I love it.
I reached out to you, right? Because when I bring on a guest for any of these shows, I always ask a topic. I always cover a topic where they would know and they would be excited about. So with you, I wanted to ask you, my first question of the day is, do you feel after that narrative, like we spoke about behind the scenes, that narrative of, oh, Kareem's going to be out of the league. It goes to Magic. Oh, Magic's going to be out of the league. It goes to Mike. Oh, Mike's going to be out of the league. It goes to Kobe. Oh, Kobe's going to be out. Goes to LeBron. LeBron's leaving. With the way the finals are set up right now, how confident are you in the future of the NBA?
As confident as I ever been. I think the NBA is in a position where they're in the best position I think they've ever been in. As strange as it might sound to some, if you hear the doom scrollers online and on TV, you would swear in this case here, this league's about to be defunct in about 6 months. I'm like, am I in the same world? And I think I've been vindicated in some ways with my thought process because of what's happened this year with the TV contract and how beneficial and the benefits they've gotten from it already in a numerous amount of ways. The ratings have been great. The awareness of games now being back on, as we old schoolers call it, rabbit ears. Yep. Exactly. So we're back on regular TV, where it's not like, you gotta go to some cable channel to find it that you may or may not have in your package. Like, it's there. So that's fantastic. And I think going back to the original point, the players in the league, I mean, the players for themselves, I don't think the players get enough credit for this. I mean, there's about 440 players in the NBA usually. Yep. And I'm going to count G League guys. Let's just put this regular NBA. I mean, if you look at regular society versus the NBA, I would suspect the NBA probably has a better record of like who's actually getting themselves, keeping their nose clean versus who's not than regular society. And, you would swear, and you don't even compare society, just compare it with other sports. Like, for the most part, the NBA, the guys do what they can. I'm not saying they're angels. I'm not suggesting that, nor will I ever say they're just that. But they do enough in this case to do all the right things. They go and shake hands, kiss babies, the usual stuff, right? They're supposed to do it as
conference trophy.
Yeah, right. Like, all the stuff that you expect them to do, for the most part, the players have done that, and they hold up that end of the bargain where they're not putting the league in ill repute. Sadly enough, it's usually the people that are kind of like on that are above them that kind of put them in ill repute. And we see some of the owners that we had in the last 10 years or so. It's not the right coaches. Let's put it that way. Yeah, there's a few of them. Yeah, see Portland, see the Clippers, see Ime. Right? He hasn't been the player so much on the floor as much. But I mean, there's been moments, but I think overall it's in a great spot. To your point, obviously the torch, the kind of the proverbial torch has been passed to Big Vic, Wemby, and I say him, and it's usually, to be fair, they are the signature person. Usually, all the people you call the signature people. I'll give some love to Shaq. We kind of always forget Shaq as being the face at one point too. We always forget about him. But the thing is, Exactly, blue chips, exactly. Yeah, guys get movie deals before a lot of the other dudes are getting it, right? So like when you look at Wemby, it's and any of the guys previously you mentioned, it's them, but there's always like there's like the satellites as well too, right? Because they're important as well too, because you need the kind of the adversary or the opponents or whoever the other folks are to kind of make it work. It can't just be just the dude and there's no other personality. That's not it. So we have some interesting personalities coming. We have some young American stars coming back up. We have Ant-Man, Cooper Flag, Cade Cunningham. So even on the U.S. side, and you throw it with some of the international guys are already at their peak, it's a great combination, man. So looking forward to it, man.
Now, what I would say about that, I think the NBA is in great hands with the young players that I've been watching. I haven't been this excited about the playoffs in years, to be quite honest, right? I don't know if you guys have been joining the streams, but other than the Raptors, yeah, I've been enjoying watching what these young Bucks can do, and I'm really getting into what they can do. And it's actually astounding in a way that I can see them growing, you know, like, for example, like you said, Wemby, right? To see him take on a leadership role on a team, right, that just now made the NBA Finals. Get into that in a second. I'm segueing, right? But just to see the young players like, you know, SGA last year, you know, Jay Will last year with them, you know, a couple years before seeing Tatum and Brown, you know, and for here on the Toronto side, you know, seeing Scotty Barnes, you know, leading that team, right? You know, seeing like Cade Cunningham leading Detroit. You know, we're seeing a lot of these younger players lead their teams, and they're still very young. So, therefore, within a couple years, we're going to actually see something that's amazing for the NBA. We won't be going, who's the GOAT of this time? It would be a great debate between who, and who, right? I think it would be absolutely amazing. But right now, what we're focusing on, in case you guys didn't click the thumbnail, the NBA Finals, which has two stars that are very young. Jalen Brunson from the East Coast, and then you got from the Western Conference, Wemby, right? What are your thoughts on the finals? We'll get into predictions after. But what are your thoughts on the finals, seeing San Antonio, New York, as opposed to last year, OKC and Indiana?
Well, I think, from a pure basketball standpoint, well, let's start with the beginning. I think, you know, based on the way you kind of stated your question, you posed it, yeah, you know, on the surface, this has more sizzle than last year's on the surface. There's no two ways about it. However, I will say, I said it then at the time, when it comes down to basketball, people might be surprised how that series is going to end up. And I think last year's finals, I think most people say it was a very compelling series last year. It was a very good series. It's unfortunate Halliburton got hurt in Game 7, but up to halftime of Game 7, people forget the Pacers were leading by about a point or two at halftime of Game 7. Yep. And it got away from them, but it was a great series. Yeah, 2 points. Yeah. So, and I think a lot of people enjoyed that series immensely. The ratings proved it because everyone's saying, "Oh my gosh, the Rays are going to die." It's the smallest market in the league, Oklahoma City and Indiana. And lo and behold, what happened? It got better ratings than Dallas and Boston, which are supposed to be big time markets, okay, with big time players. So sometimes, guys, you gotta look at what's offered. So this one, the surface has both. It has the sizzle up front, and I think the basketball will be compelling enough where you have some matchups that are gonna be fascinating to watch, see how that plays out. I think this is gonna be very competitive. People are underestimating the Knicks. Maybe might do so at their own peril. The Knicks all year have played well against top teams. Yeah. They are a difficult matchup for top teams. I think they will be a very difficult matchup for this team. And I don't know if you want to get into more of the details of why I think so right now, but like it's
Please do.
Yeah. So here's the first problem I think that the Spurs have on their side. You mentioned the gentleman's name. They have a team that's built in a lot of ways to deal with the big wings of the Western Conference.
Yep.
If they're playing Houston, they could deal with KD and Thompson. They could deal with LeBron in this case here and Luka. They got guys in this case to deal with SGA, of course, and Williams at OKC. But they got the type of personnel for that. What they don't technically have is guys that could guard a lot of darting small water bug type guards, which is Brunson.
Yes.
That is going to be interesting how they deal with that. Castle ain't really built to be chasing dudes like that around. Harper to a lesser extent. It's going to be a lot on Fox in this series, and his ankles, I'm not sure how much they're going to be able to hold up for next week and a half to 2 weeks. But that is, to me, is well, he's not. He's only 26, but he's the ankles coming back from that. I mean, anybody to play any sport, ankles, man. If your ankles are sore, those are things that have to be just right. Like you can't come on there and say,
every day of my life because of my ankles from playing ball.
Right. You can't be like 80% on ankles, right? Like it's like if you got a bad finger or thumb, you can tape it up and stuff like that, and you can get away with it. You can't get away with ankles. Like knees, the same thing. Like certain types of parts of the body, like you can feel that every time you jump, every time you make a stop and start move. And you can watch Fox in the series where he almost looked gingerly when he made layups, and you can see him wincing coming back the other way. So, and unfortunately, because they played 7, he even getting extra rest for it. So he's right back at it pretty much, and he gets 1 extra day at most. So that to me is what I'm watching for from that standpoint. The other part they have an advantage on, unlike the past series, Wemby, you have to guard somebody in this series. Because it ain't gonna be Chet who like wide-eyed and scared out there, because Cat can get his shots up and Cat can play physical. So you're gonna have to do some work defensively. You ain't gonna get the chance to coast out here and hang out at the free throw line in the lane, wait for SGA. No. You're forced to be out there with Cat.
Yep.
And I think the key thing is how they match the minutes on the Knicks side. Do they match and make sure that Cat is out there all the time with Wemby? And the key part from Cat's standpoint is he cannot pick up the dumb fouls he usually does. Can't do it in this series. Because if he's in foul trouble, it's a wrap for the Knicks. Because with all due respect to Mitchell Robinson, that is the worst nightmare for the Knicks in that sense. Because now all of a sudden I'm right back to where I am with OKC, where I'm playing a dude that can't score. And my man's like a big, huge condor. He's just roving around the place, waiting for anyone to come through the lane. So you don't want that situation where you have tons of minutes with Mitchell Robinson and Wemby on the floor at the same time. That's the Knicks side of the equation. The Spurs side of the equation now, this is where things also get a bit problematic for the Spurs. They have big wings, but guess who has a pretty good set of big wings to defend? Wemby. The Knicks. Right? OG, Hart, Bridges.
Yeah. Nobody mentioned OG.
Right. This ain't playing against Casey Wallace. Right. This ain't playing Casey Wallace, with all due respect, who's a fine defender. Caruso still 6'6", 6'5", but the rest of the dudes like 6'3", like Lou Dort 6'4". This ain't this. This is 6'8", 240 OG. This is 6'7", 6'8", long arms, Bridges. This is this is like 6'4", 6'5" Josh Hart, who plays bigger than he is. Like, this is what you're dealing with now. So it's a different world at this point here from a matchup standpoint for San Antonio.
Yes, I agree with you. Like the matchup, they're gonna have to figure out where they're gonna match up properly and accordingly, right? I understand. Like I see Kornet coming off the bench to relieve Wemby at the big, right? I see that. I see Castle trying to guard Bridges, right? I see Vassell also trying to guard Bridges. The two of them would switch up for the 2 and the 3, right? Like you said, Darren Fox or Harper would have to match up against Brunson, which is a tall task. Not literally, ladies and gentlemen, right? But a tall task. And the main X factor in this whole series, I believe, is OG and Anunoby. If OG is on, he's like those can balance each other, right? From what I mentioned prior, right? But for the latter, OG, where does he fit, right? And what is he going to do to take over this? Can he get another ring? Right? I would love to see it. Right?
Yeah, because
And then
you
also,
obviously didn't participate in the last one, so
I'm also excited. Shout out to my Filipino family. Yeah, blood related, right?
okay.
Seeing Clarkson and
Clarkson.
Harper out there, I really like seeing that. Shout out to my Trini Pinos. But yeah, so as far as the way I see this playing out, I have my own prediction. It's gonna be pretty controversial for some people. So, but before people shit on me and click stop and go look somewhere else, Beyond, what's your predictions for this NBA Finals?
I mean, I've kind of liked the Spurs all year, but I think they got the one team I'm a little concerned about how they play them. And honestly, like if you told me the Knicks win this in 7 in San Antonio, I wouldn't be surprised. I think I have Knicks in 6. But these days, winning a game 7 on the road is not so crazy like it used to be. So like I could see this going 7 and the Knicks winning it in 7. I think I initially mentioned on a previous podcast Knicks in 6. I think Knicks in 7. I think because of the scenarios I'm talking about, and I think to be fair to the Spurs side of things, I think they do have a couple of things they can do besides Wemby, obviously, that they can do as well too. I think the Harper element of this, I think he has to have a big series. I think he and Castle, they need to find a way to get them on switches on Brunson. Like I think I can see a lot of 1-2 pick and rolls where Fox is setting the pick just to get Brunson onto one of those two dudes. And I think one of those two dudes have to have, if not both, have to have a big series. But yeah, I think the matchups are just a perfect type of team in a lot of ways to deal with San Antonio. It's arguably one of the few teams in the league that you can say, okay, what's the worst matchup you could get for San Antonio? Honestly, it's the Knicks. Actually, you go around. They got shooting big that puts pressure on the rim, that plays physical. So therefore, it's going to force Wemby's hand. It's not going to be like a finesse type of thing. Like Hartenstein's doing push shots. Cat ain't doing push shots when he's going the rim. Cat's elbows out and everything. Like it's coming. So it's just one of those things where I'm like, man, it's like okay, if there's any matchup, like if for example, if some miracle Cleveland got in. They would slaughter Cleveland for the games.
Oh,
they would slaughter Cleveland. But this matchup, it provides some interesting situations. And I think Wemby's gonna have to play like out of his mind. Like you see how he did in game 1 of this last series, where it's like 42 and 20 something.
Yeah.
I think he's gotta be on that type of level where he's like getting you 30 plus every night. And getting close to like 15, 20 boards. Like he can't have a night where he's scoring like 18 and getting like 11 boards like that. I don't think it's going to cut it in this series.
Well, my early prediction is Spurs in 6.
Solid. I get the rationale.
I see the Spurs coming up with the first game, New York with the second game in San Antonio. Then I see them splitting the 2 in New York. And then when the Spurs go home, they change the momentum, they win game 5. And then they come into MSG and take game 6. That's what I see early on. Yeah, I'm sticking my head out there and I'm telling you, I've nothing on you, Beyond.
No.
People out there, I've only been wrong 5 games.
Yeah,
all playoffs. So
San Antonio's they're the favorite. So like, and you're not like on a limb in this case saying so. There's rationales I could pick the other way for San Antonio.
Yeah.
I think one element of this series that we haven't discussed yet, and it's kind of the third part of this little dance, and that's MSG. The Garden is a strange place.
Well, I just said the Mecca of basketball.
Right.
Not my Mecca. I'm Muslim.
Exactly. Not for you, but yeah. Where players sometimes get stage fright, or players in this case can't wait for the moment.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of times it's usually the latter. So for the Spurs side of the ledger, you can have like a coming out party at the Garden. We saw it at Christmas last year with Wemby. I think he put 40 something on Christmas Day in New York. Yep. I can easily see a scenario like either Wemby, one of the 2 guards I just mentioned, going ham in New York, and like what the hell, and people are wondering like what's going on here. Like if you told me 2 weeks from now we're having this discussion, and Harper had 2 30-point games in the Garden, I wouldn't think that's crazy. Like I can see I can see, like, or Castle, who's a big time player. He plays big in big moments. Like, I see one of those dudes just going off, and and so like, I can see the other side quite easily. Like, this is a tough matchup, man. It's one of the tougher series to pick in a long time. Like,
But isn't it exciting?
yeah, oh yeah, it's like no doubt. Like, if you had to ask, if we go back to business, you had to ask, give true serum to Adam Silver, what's the best match he could ever want in this year? It was handed to on a silver platter in like the perfect way too. It wasn't even like if Wemby was playing okay and they found a way, they're all like doing their part to win, which they are. But he had signature games, which made it even built up to get to this point, right? It's that's what you want, right? It's like that's what you're looking for, and and they have the type of team where it's like, okay, why not now, right? That's the thing. I think people think like, teams have to wait around a bit. I was talking to my dad about this. Is like, it's kind of like football where it's like, if you have a rookie quarterback that's really good or a rookie deal, no, you load up now. You don't wait for him to get the big contract. You load up now, right? Yeah. And you're seeing it now with the NBA with you got a young star. You say, we'll wait, we'll groom, and we'll get him ready to go in, by year 5 or 6. No, them days are dead. If you know a dude's a dude, you need to get in there and get guys around them right now. Like my Mavericks, they should be looking at this blueprint and saying, oh, okay, this is how it's going down. We loading up here as possible for Mr. Flag. That's what we need to be doing. Like, we went around to year 4 or 5. Let's move now.
Well, I'm all in on these finals. Guys, catch me on the stream. I'll be here with you guys. Beyond, I know you're going to enjoy these finals, man.
Oh, man, you big Vic in the garden. Come on.
Yo, I'm amped for this one.
Come on.
I've lost my voice the last couple of games. Just cheering on Wemby, watching Vic do his thing, right? The other thing, too, is like, Vic's got a chip on his shoulder. He pulled out the chip on his shoulder against Chet, and now he's got the chip on his shoulder from the cup this year.
Mm-hmm. Let me tell you something. I think that last point here before we wrap up, just to speak about Wembanyama, and we discussed this earlier about passing the torch, but I think they make the difference between the guys that you mentioned that pass the torch guys versus just other guys who are great players. And I mentioned this last year on Space, and everyone's going crazy about the All-Star game as usual at the time. And I said, like, at the time, like, the top players in the world at that time, that are like the leaders of the pack, they just think of this as like a job and something to do, and I go home, right? They don't think about the ambassadorship of it, so no disrespect to Jokic or Luka or even SGA. They're all guys that, like, I get my lunch pail, I just go and I just do my thing. They don't have the charisma and understand the elements of the business around it, right? And so and the guys that do have it, they're too old to even for those guys to listen to them. Like Curry, LeBron ain't saying nothing to them dudes that are gonna seep through to them. But Wemby has the package, understands like all the fellas you mentioned before. Not just the fact that it's I want win, which to your point, he got chipped in this case here, like he wants to win, but he also understands. He also understands being box office, the quote, a particular broadcaster likes to refer to it as that. He understands stage presence. He understands the ambassadorship as a larger thing, like, hey, I'm trying to grow the sport type of thing. He has insightful interviews on insightful topics. Like, he's just not like, I'm just coming to play and I go home. I'll go back, go back and do my thing. Like, those guys didn't get it. And I said, like, don't worry, it will come. The guy will come. The guy is here.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Look, Beyond, always a freaking pleasure with you on, right? I'm glad having you on my show and me on your show at the same time. How does that work? Again, different universes, right? But, so, oh, man, thank you for coming on. And thank you guys for watching. We very much appreciate it. You guys leave in the comments, anywhere you want to send it, leave in the comments what you think is going to happen in the NBA Finals, and we will see you. We'll probably get back. I will get back. But so Beyond, thank you. You guys watching. I consider you guys to the Point family. I consider you guys going beyond with the locker room. So, on that note, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, and peace.